a significant amount of territory has been seized over the course of 6, 8, 10 months sort of thing by the Taliban. So strategic momentum appears to be sort of with the Taliban. There's a possibility of a complete Taliban takeover or a possibility of any number of other scenarios. I don't think the end game is yet written.
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Mark Milley, with a sobering message, the Taliban appearing to gain strategic momentum in the battle for control over Afghanistan. This, as the Pentagon says, the U.S. withdrawal is 95% finished and will be completed by August 31st, ending nearly 2 decades of occupation. And with all the troops set to be out by the end of next month, the need to help Afghan interpreters, contractors, and security personnel who worked with the U.S. government hand in glove in Afghanistan, that has increased in urgency. The House voted overwhelmingly today to pass the Allies Act of 2021, which allows 8,000 additional visas and also eases some of the requirements for visas. Joining us now, Matt Zeller, a former combat advisor with Afghan security forces and co-founder of No One Left Behind, a veterans organization that offers services to former Afghan and Iraqi interpreters who resettled here in the United States. It's a cause close to his heart. Zeller credits his interpreter with saving his life during his service with the military in Afghanistan. Welcome. We're glad to have you. Let's look at what the AP said about the importance of these efforts and the quotes from Republicans about the bill that passed today. Florida Republican and Vietnam War veteran Representative Neil Dunn evoked the scenes of the U.S. military withdrawal from Vietnam, which left many Vietnamese who'd worked with American forces fearing and sometimes meeting death and detention. We cannot do this again. We must not do this again. We must bring back all the people who were so important to us in combat, Neil said, urging fellow lawmakers to vote for the bill. Please do not abandon the Friends of America again. Mark, could you talk about your interpreter and your personal story? That I think it's important for people to hear, because when you hear the word interpreter, you think of people in a boardroom, or you think of people at the UN, or you think of political people that are surrounded by security. Having been in Afghanistan and seen the roles that interpreters played, I understand this is much different. Talk about why this is so important to you.
Well, thanks for having me, ma'am. Simply put, I wouldn't be alive talking to you today if it wasn't for my Afghan interpreter, a man by the name of Janice. He saved my life in a battle. On my 14th day in the war, we were out assessing a police outpost to make sure that the Afghan police were there and doing their jobs when our unit ran into a Taliban ambush. And Janice was actually part of the rescue convoy that came to save us. He killed 2 Taliban fighters who were about to kill me in a battle. Not everybody gets to meet their guardian angel. I did. And I was fortunate enough to have him stand by my side throughout the rest of the war. And what I will tell you is that in successive battles and successive missions, the Taliban shot at our interpreters first. They shot at them before us. And the reason why they did was because they understood that without these people, we couldn't do our mission. They called them the eyes. They would say over the radio, shoot the eyes first. And that was a really apt way of describing them. They were not just our eyes, they were also our ears. They were our linguistic and cultural bridge to the world around us and for that world back to us. They were more important to our survival on the battlefield than our weapons.
How many of these interpreters and their families, what kind of numbers are we talking about? And was the bill that passed today, was it enough? Or are we going to have to do more?
Oh, we're going to have to do a lot more. We're talking about 71,000 people when you include all of their family members. Now, the bill that was passed today should hopefully cover enough visas to include all of those people. But the reality is that the visa program has been broken for years and is not what's going to save these people. What's going to save these people is an airlift, the largest of which has occurred since 1948, the Berlin airlift. We're talking about at least 300 plus flights. We're talking about having to accomplish this before the 31st of August, which, according to the Association of Wartime Allies, means at a minimum we need to be moving at least 1,700 people a day, every day, between now to the 31st of August. And here's the thing that I'm terrified about. Thus far, the administration has said the only people that they plan to evacuate are folks who can get to Kabul. The Taliban, General Milley's correct, the Taliban are on the march. They now control all of the roads in between the major cities of the country. There aren't flights between different Afghan cities. So if you're an Afghan who's in Kandahar or Herat, you are not able to get to Kabul. And I have had people who have been selected for this evacuation. They've been notified. They will get on a plane, but only if they can somehow make it till Kabul. That trip in and of itself is a death sentence. There's no way they can make it to Kabul unless we go and save them. And unfortunately, I don't think that's a political reality. That is the only way we're going to save these people. And we're talking about 40,000 people. The Association of Wartime Allies polled the Afghan special immigrant visa population in the last week. And what they learned is that over half of them live outside of Kabul. We don't have a plan to save any of those people right now.